Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hellmite here with another podcast from Grab the Lantern. It's Monday, so that means I'm back again in the saddle doing another video talking about League of Legends. What else? Hoping to do at least 2 of these every week, Monday and Friday, so make sure you're checking this channel or the blog alternatively on those days, as I will most likely have a podcast up at some point. Unfortunately, my work schedule is fairly fluid, I would say, right now, which makes it somewhat difficult, but I will at least try to get something up Monday and Friday at some point. Today's topic I wanted to cover is Camille. Just got revealed. I ran through the reveal page as much as I could, tried to learn what I can. I'm very, very excited for this champion. Unlike Ivern, I wasn't a big fan of Ivern, but I think Camille looks like she's going to be a lot of fun, and she is definitely my style, I think, in more ways than one. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. Camille, obviously, like we knew before, is going to be a Piltovian champion. We know now that she is not a robot. She is human, like I talked about before in my GTL grab bag last week. And I think she has a really, really interesting kit. We're going to run through this ability by ability and kind of break down how it helps Camille and kind of what it does. Camille's passive is Adaptive Defenses. What this basically means is that when Camille makes her first auto attack against an enemy champion, she gets a shield that blocks against the highest, the type of damage that that champion deals the most of. So if she walks up and auto attacks a Jinx, for example, she'll get a physical damage shield, and if she walks up and attacks a Victor, she'll get a magic damage shield. Now this is actually really interesting because this is the first time in League of Legends history we have a physical damage shield as a thing. Magic damage shields we've had before, especially with things like Morgana. Her black shield only protects against magic damage. But now we have a shield that only protects against physical damage, meaning that she can still, if she attacks the Jinx and then gets bursted by the Victor, that shield she got will not help her one bit. What this passive ultimately means for Camille is that she's very good in 1v1 scenarios. She wants to attack, she wants to hit the person, get the shield that'll block the majority of the kind of damage they deal, and then go to town because she's getting it for free. Obviously, this passive does have a cooldown, so she can't just keep hitting you and keep getting a shield or adjust her shield on the fly, but she can get the shield when she starts dueling people. So I think already this is saying Camille wants to be in the top lane or the mid lane. She wants a solo lane so that way she can be in a 1v1 situation and block the damage. It's also been confirmed on the boards that it will block whatever the enemy champion is dealing most of at the moment. What this means is that if Camille was auto-attacked by, let's say, a Katarina early in the game, she'll probably get a physical damage shield because that's most of the damage Katarina's dealt thus far. However, obviously as time goes on and Katarina starts throwing daggers and jumping around and doing Katarina things, she'll get a magic damage shield when she hits the Katarina. So it can adjust itself throughout the game, but it will always be giving you the shield that will provide you with the biggest benefit. As this is especially relevant against champions that do hybrid damage like Jax and Kale, because it'll give you the kind of shield that'll mitigate the most damage that you would take from them. Camille's Q is Precision Protocol. Her next basic attack slashes enemies for bonus physical damage and gives her a short burst of movement speed. After she casts it, for the next 3 seconds, she can recast it for another increased strength auto attack. However, if she waits at least a second and a half before casting the second strike will deal bonus damage and deal part of that bonus damage as true damage. So this is where Camille starts showing off that she's a very technically demanding champion. You can't just button mash Camille to victory because you'll actually be sacrificing a lot of your damage. This also breaks up Camille's damage pattern. Instead of being like an assassin who basically hits every button they have and tries to kill you immediately, Camille is more about sustained damage. She wants to get on top of you, hit you with the first Q, and then try to hold off on using her Q again until she can get the bonus true damage. The fact that it deals true damage also means that Camille is fairly decent against tanks, since if she can wait for that second auto attack, she'll get the true damage in, your resistances don't matter, and she'll be dealing a lot more damage. I think this basically says Camille is good top. It also means that her damage is at least somewhat target agnostic. She's definitely still a squishy killer, I think, but it does mean that she can trade favorably against champions like Poppy, Malphite, and Maokai in the top lane. Camille's W is called Tactical Sweep. Camille basically, after a short delay, launches out energy in a cone in front of her that deals physical damage to all targets hit. If you're in the outer half of the arc, you'll also suffer a 90% slow and take additional damage based on your maximum HP. This also heals Camille. So this is another ability that plays up Camille's precise nature. It's not enough just to hit your enemies with the tactical sweep. You want to make sure that champions are in the outer half so that way you get the slow. However, if they're in the outer half, that also means that they're further away from you, and therefore you have to make a bigger effort to get into place to attack them. The slow is obviously a big deal, especially it is a very, very hefty slow. But it does mean that you still have to run after them, so if they have something like Flash, they might be able to escape. There was something else I wanted to say about tactical sweep. It gives additional, heals Camille in the process, so it's a bit of additional sustain for Camille in the middle of hectic fights. So already she's got two things that kind of help keep her alive: the adaptive shield and now the heal from tactical sweep. I'm interested to know if Camille will heal for every champion hit, or if she heals the same amount no matter how many champions she hits with tactical sweep, because it might help her, because especially it would have a weird interaction with her ultimate then, but the fact that it does heal her is big for Camille, as she is sort of a diving fighter, and she needs at least a decent amount of tankiness in order to function. Camille's E is really, really interesting, and very Attack on Titan, if you don't mind me saying. It's called Hook Shot. The first time she casts her E, she fires a hook shot in the target direction, and if she hits a wall, she'll pull herself to it and kind of crouch on the wall. After that, she'll have a brief opportunity where she can cast Wall Dive. When she casts Wall Dive, she dashes in target direction, stops on the first enemy champion hit, and stuns all enemies in an area. If she dashes towards a champion, she'll also get bonus range on Wall Dive and gain bonus attack speed after landing. So this is a really loaded ability. Hookshot, first of all, gives Camille mobility, which is something diving fighters need, and it gives Camille out-of-combat mobility, which is another really useful thing for her to have, as it'll allow her to avoid ganks, especially because it's a two-part dash. So she can pull herself to, like, the wall in, the wall near top lane, and then leap away towards her tower, assuming she's not super far pushed out. The other thing Wall Dive does is it gives Camille really, really strong teamfight presence, as she can hookshot herself to a wall and then dash over the wall towards a target, covering a lot of distance all at once, and getting an area of effect stun when she lands. Plus, if she's dashing towards the champion, she gets increased range and bonus attack speed, letting her put the hurt on people while they're still stunned. This is pretty big. Again, it's a very high skill cap move, and I am fully expecting a lot of Camille's to mess up their first time playing the champion. I'm also interested to see how it works in Smartcast, but I think it is very interesting. It plays up the part from her comic, which I did kind of talk about that in my GTL grab bag last week, how she might have a hook shot. Turns out she does. Finally, her ultimate, which is basically just a superior Xinjiao ultimate, is called Hextech Ultimatum. She leaps towards a target enemy champion and imprisons them in this big zone, and knocking away all of their allies. So it's kind of like a Jarvan ult in that regard. She jumps on you and she knocks away everyone and creates a zone around you. While the ultimate is active, the target enemy can't leave the area by any means. Now, I'm assuming this means that things like Thresh Lanterns won't work, Flash won't work. This isn't something like Poppy W, which you can blink out of. There is no way to leave the zone. Obviously, we won't know until we've actually looked at the, until we've actually played Camille in-game and we kind of know how she works. But it doesn't sound like there's any way for you to get out. You are trapped in there with Camille. However, you can come in, enter the zone if you want to help your ally who's currently trapped. So someone like Tom Kench is really good against Camille because he can walk in and eat his AD carry and kind of wait out the duration of Hextech Ultimatum and then run away with it with the Jinx or the Jhin or whomever he was rescuing. This is a really, really cool ability. It gives Camille the ability to single out a single target. Yeah, that made sense. Single out a target for her to lay the smackdown on, especially if she dashed onto them first. She gets the ultimatum down. That champion can't leave, and if they're all by themselves, such as in top lane or mid lane, they have no recourse of action but to try and run away from Camille while she's got them there. The other thing Hextech Ultimatum does is set the target champion up for area of effect ability. So if you've got someone like a Veigar or a Syndra who wants to deal a lot of damage in an area of effect, Hextech Ultimatum locks them down and says, hey, just start hitting in this position. They can't get out. It is basically a superior Xinjiao ultimate, which is kind of disappointing to me. because I was kind of hoping, that Shinjo would get at least a little bit of love, but with Camille being here, I don't think he really has much of a chance. But it is a really cool ability, and I look forward to seeing it. So, as I mentioned before, Camille is supposed to be a diving fighter, according to Riot. That means that diving fighters are designed to have high mobility and are supposed to have a decent amount of damage threat on targets. However, unlike assassins, who are very similar, diving fighters only have a way in. They don't frequently have ways out of a fight. They basically have to go for their target and hope they kill the target before they themselves die. Diving fighters also generally have higher durability in the form of sustain or innate tankiness. Shinjo, Aurelia, and Vi are all good examples of diving fighters. Camille is interesting in that she is a diving fighter, and I think most of her abilities point her to being a diving fighter. However, hookshot can be cast outside of combat. So like Shinjo, for example, he dashes in, and he has no way out besides movement speed, or hoping that there's an enemy champion in the outskirts of a fight he can dash to. Camille, however, hookshot has free targeting and comes with a 2-part dash. Obviously, the wall jump is much reduced range if she's not jumping towards a champion, but it's still 2 dashes. So Camille can actually get out of a fight instead of just going in, depending on cooldowns, of course. Hopefully, hookshot has a long cooldown, so Camille has to commit to fights instead of being able to jump in, do some damage, and then jump out again immediately. I think that Hextech Ultimatum is a really interesting move for a diving fighter to have. She guarantees that the target can't escape her. However, targets can still come to her aid. It's sort of like a Vi ult, except instead of Camille coming to the target, she makes the target stay there, while also dashing towards them. So she actually has 2 gap closers, again similar to Vi, and it's going to be interesting to see how much distance she can cover as a whole while trying to single out a target. Her damage, I don't have ratios, unfortunately, right now, so I don't know how much damage she can deal. It seems like she can do a decent amount, especially if she gets the outer hit on the tactical sweep and the 2-part hit on the precision protocol. However, this doesn't mean she's bursting. There's a delay on tactical sweep, and precision protocol has to wait at least 1.5 seconds before you can get the bonus true damage. So she has the option of doing damage fast or doing a lot of damage, but she can't do it both ways, which is good because it guarantees that she can't be played like an assassin, like some damage Vi builds kinda do. Definitely Camille's going to be a top laner. I think the fact that her passive gives her that free damage shield means that she trades really, really well with champions. In fact, they had a gameplay video with Camille trading with a Poppy, and obviously it's a gameplay video, so who's to know how doctored it is, but she trades with a Poppy, basically takes no damage, and cuts Poppy from 100% to around 40%, which is pretty good. Now, obviously that's being played by highly skilled Camille, but it does go to show that she's going to be most effective in the top lane. I don't really see her getting played mid. I think she'll just get bullied out by other champions. And she doesn't have very much terrain to vault to if she's trying to get in on a mid laner like Syndra, who's going to stay at arm's length anyways, so very definitely not. Jungle Camille, I also don't feel like could be a thing. She can get from camps fast quickly with hookshot, but I don't think her ganks are very impactful because she doesn't have that much crowd control. There's a delay on tactical sweep that lets you kind of walk out of it or walk towards her in order to avoid the slow. So Camille jungle could happen. I'm kind of doubtful. I feel like she will be an exclusive top laner, kind of like how Kled is. Interestingly enough, she was not a skirmisher like I thought. She is a diving fighter, so I was wrong on that regard. And I am going to be very interested to see Camille get played at the professional level. I think currently, obviously numbers-wise, things might change and maybe she doesn't quite make the cut, but I think she has the toolbox to make her a professional pick. I think Hextech Ultimatum is a very strong ability that you really need to counter with certain champions. And I think that she also has high mobility and hopefully high damage as well to make her some sort of damage threat. I think she has an opportunity to be played professionally, and I can't wait to see the pros play a high skill cap champion to its utmost. I mean, that's why I really love seeing Lee Sins and Azirs and Kallistas in professional play, because of how interesting it is. Finally, Camille also, we kind of know a little bit more about her just based on the short blurb of lore that we did get, and I think I might cover this in a future podcast, but we know that Camille basically dedicated herself to protecting Piltover, and she physically reconfigured her body in order to do this most effectively. She's also part of a, noble class, So, that's kind of interesting in that she she's kind of like Batman, I guess, in that regard. She's not quite vain, I will say, but it is interesting to see that that's kind of how they're going with this. So, at any rate, I am very excited to see Camille. I can't wait for her to come out. And talk to me more about this champion. What do you guys think? What do you think, you might build on this champion, where you might play her? Is she really as attractive as I think she is? All that kind of stuff. Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you guys. As always, if you have any feedback about this series, it is still a work in progress, so please give me some feedback. I would love to hear it. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, as it does help me in what I do. If you want to subscribe, you'll be able to see more of these, especially on Mondays, Fridays, and every day there's a patch coming out. Once again, I am Hellmite from Grab the Lantern. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.